Hey, everybody, welcome into another episode of the WTH podcast. Wow! We tried it on a different streaming app, and we couldn't hear Jason.
Nope.
So we'll get that squared away. We're back on StreamYard. Maybe it's more expensive because it's worth it, Kareem.
They say you get what you pay for.
It's true. It's true. So we'll find a way to cut out the about 10 minutes where we fucked around on that.
Yeah.
So sorry, you're gonna get a full show, just maybe not as much as you would have. Thanks everybody for joining us across the world from Australia to India. By the way, in India, watch out for the COVID. It's apparently starting to.
Oh yeah, and then there's a variant that's hit here.
Allegedly. Sorry about that. All Eyes on Us podcast. They're the allegedly guys. Allegedly. Don't mean to steal your garbage. Don't mean to steal your garbage. Coming up on the show today, we're going to talk a little bit of baseball. Plus, everybody hates Ted. So much so that we're going to rant during an audiobook recording. Plus, Walk of Shame. And Spring has sprung in small town news. All of those things coming up. Jason, how are you, my friend?
Oh, man. Doing all right. Kid's been not wanting to go to sleep lately, so the 2-year-old.
Get some hand. You have to get some hand.
No. No.
Get a little hand.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump right into this. DMX in a vegetative state, in a coma, in hospital. There's a vigil that's probably at this point done because it started at 5 p.m. Eastern. So the countdown on DMX.
Yeah, it's man. It's a lot of people going. I can't say before your time, but it's going early.
Listen, yeah, I mean, with DMX, is it before his time? I mean, he's young, relatively speaking, but he's done a lot of shit.
He's 50, so isn't that he's
younger than me.
It's hard to say.
Look, I've outlived Elvis by 9 years at this point, so.
Isn't that always the craziest shit when you learn something like that? And you're like, wait, what?
Today, as we record this, was the day that Kurt Cobain died. Kurt Cobain died at 27 years ago today.
Yeah.
He has now been alive as dead as long as he was alive.
There have been a lot of people that checked out before 28.
A lot of 27-year-olds. Hendrix,
Janis
Joplin,
Mama Cass.
Yes.
Yeah, quite a few. So, gone too soon. Sorry to hear about DMX. I mean, condolences go out to his family because that's just brutal to deal with. All right, let's roll right into this. Jason, what would you like to talk about? Let's jump in.
Oh, yeah. Right now, let me maybe come back to me. I'm having a hard time thinking about anything else right now than the kid crying out loud.
Sure,
where we can hear
it. and his internet's not the greatest either, is it, Kareem?
No.
All right, Jason. I'm going to mute you. I'll come back to you. Kareem, what would you like to talk about?
Well, I thought I was going to have a funny, lighthearted story for us to talk about this week.
Never the case.
Because one of my girlfriend's nieces wants to go to Miami to be a nanny for a couple that we don't know yet. So that was going to be the lighthearted, funny, making fun of taking conversation that we were going to have.
Right.
But the teenager that lives with us decided to use the word colored.
Well, that's an unfortunate word to use. Saturday
night. And I sent you guys a message to which you guys didn't reply.
Yeah, I
was like, Nate's like, I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah. It sometimes it's best not to reply. I'm gonna go back and look at it really quick. Let's see. That was Sunday. Oh, yep. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know what you were talking about.
Yeah.
So that was my thing, was like I just wasn't sure what you were talking about. So
Yeah. So she had spent the week with her mom and her mom's boyfriend in San Francisco and Santa Cruz. So she came back early on Saturday, and we went and got the other niece and brought her over to spend the night because we haven't really seen her much lately, the 15-year-old. So we went and got her, brought her over. And so I don't even know what we were doing. We were kind of watching TV. My girlfriend was cooking dinner, and something came up about vampires. And I was like, oh, you're the most transparent person in here, so you're a vampire. And she's like, oh, you should be happy. There were colored people in Twilight.
wow, she is an old soul, isn't she?
Man.
That's the only real way to explain that. She's an old soul.
Yeah. And the needles skipped across the record.
I would imagine.
And she seemed to be the only person in the house who was unaware of what she said. Because the 15-year-old was like, did she like drop her phone almost? Like, did she just say colored?
Right.
My girlfriend comes out of the kitchen to, like out of the kitchen where she has food on the stove, was like, did she just say colored?
Right. This is a stop and cock your head like a dog moment.
And that's what I did. And she was sitting on the couch with me, which it took. I think the shock of it was what kept me from kicking her physically on the couch.
Sure.
And she just kind of went on like it didn't happen. Nothing was said. Like it just didn't happen. But the more I sat there, the more bothered I was.
Sure, I can imagine.
And because for me, it's the polite way of saying the N-word.
Sure.
And so I kind of excused myself from them for the rest of the night to keep from treating her like an adult.
Sure. Sure.
But the weird part about it was, it's like, one, if you said it and you didn't mean to say it, the fact that we all hard paused when you said it, should have made you say, oh shit, what did I say?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Because that's what I'm used to when people say shit that they think might have offended you.
Yeah.
Is right away, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to say that.
Or at the very least, what did I do?
Exactly.
If you're unaware that you've done something wrong, what did I do? Is there a problem with that? By the way, we have a recording of you excusing yourself.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
And then he retired to his man cave.
Yeah. So Sunday morning rolls around, and me and my girlfriend talked about it overnight. But Sunday morning rolls around, and she was trying to decide where she wanted to fit into the conversation, because her instinct is to protect her, but she didn't want to protect her per se.
Well, I mean, protect from physical harm, sure, but
yes.
That's protecting from consequences of your words.
Yeah, and so the girls finally get up, and so I asked her the question, like, what does the word colored mean to you? And she went silent, and I'm on the couch. So when she said it, when I asked her the question, it was like her in the kitchen. She walked like behind that television, so I couldn't see her.
Mm-hmm.
And then she finally came to the kitchen table with her phone, and she was messing with her phone. And I was like, you sitting there not addressing this is not helping you. I was like, so, you not saying anything right now is the worst thing that you could be saying. Did he get back in?
No, that was not him.
And then she did the white woman tears thing.
Oh, Jason will not be joining us tonight.
Oh,
the kid is screaming the internet connection. So,
damn it, man.
He's going to try resetting everything, but he's not sure why his 1 gig fiber internet is having issues. But it clearly was. The audio was garbling, which we've not had happen with him before. So, go on.
Yeah. So well, what does this word mean to you? And she sat there like she was catatonic for about 20 minutes, crying. It was like, there needs to be an answer.
Yeah, I mean, there are way too many options where women and girls will go to crying as when confronted with something.
Yeah.
Because they're uncomfortable, and if they cry, then you'll be uncomfortable, and then maybe it'll all go away.
Yeah.
And this is not one of those circumstances.
Yes. Those tears do not work with me. Like if somebody died, I will show you some compassion. If you're moved by something in a movie, I might tease you about it, but I will understand it. But when we're in the consequence mode and you cry, that shit does not save you.
Yeah, well, even if it would have been crying with "I'm so sorry, I can't believe I said that," that's another thing. But to just completely shut down,
30 to 45 minutes before she said that.
Wow.
Yeah, and I still never got an explanation as to
why she thought that was okay.
Why she thought that was okay? Because I'm like, you said it, and you kept moving. So that tells me that you thought that it was okay to say.
You thought you were gonna just slip it in,
and it was okay for you to say it. So I still haven't got an answer as to why, where that came from,
right?
And so that was why, like I said, I sent you guys a message like, is it okay for me to put this bitch out for?
Yeah, again, it came out of nowhere, and I'm like, I don't know what he's talking about, so I don't want to guess.
But that was my Saturday and my Easter. If you get a chance, but now you got kids, so it'll probably be a while before you do this. But we did go to the Jack London State Park, which is up past Sonoma.
I saw that. I thought you were on the Old Town Road.
My friend Milton said I was going to get killed like in The Hills Have Eyes.
Sure.
But if you get a chance to go up there to the ruins of his ranch, it is beautiful, phenomenal. It was like a 15,000 square foot ranch house.
Wow.
Made out of stones. It ended up burning down, and they didn't get a chance to redo it. But what they did, the stone portions of what they did, is still intact. It's just gorgeous. It's only about a mile hike from the museum portion, which is the house that his wife actually lived and died in. After him, it's only about a mile hike. That's like a moderate hike.
Yeah, well, the 2-year-old we can make walk that far.
Yeah.
The 1-month-old, we're probably gonna have to wait a few months before he's even able to. He's gonna have to be able to hold his head up.
Yeah.
In order for us to pack him in and do that sort of thing. But yeah, I'm trying to get out. Like earlier today, I actually had both kids here at the office, which was I was my challenging myself to see kind of what it would be. And the 1-month-old blasted a huge smelly shit just before my clients walked in, and it blew out the leg of his diaper. So onto his jammies that he was wearing. So it was a full. Thank God I have like 1,000 Target bags from doing the order pickups. So the crap diaper went into one and then out into the dumpster, and his jammies went into the other. And he did well after that because he was pretty exhausted, as one would be.
Yeah.
And the girl was pretty good. She was actually out harassing the ladies who work for my landlord, who was not here. They were thrilled with it, but it all went pretty well until he decided that he was hungry again, and I was feeding him and he wasn't eating really great. So I'm like, all right, we'll pick this up later. And he just went into his, I'm going to be quiet and then I'm going to start to go, and then 45 seconds later, it's a full on yell.
Yeah.
Like put Jason's children to shame kind of yell.
Yeah.
And then we went home. But the client, the chef C's from the Coming In Hot podcast was able to record his full hour. We didn't have any issues in that. The issues with the young one were before and after.
Yeah.
And the other one, she was just really excited. So like she'd start to yell and be like, shh, and she'd running around outside of the office. So it was all good. So that was the big challenge of doing that with kids.
Yeah. And I must say, you're looking mighty svelte over there.
Well, I have not eaten real food in 7 weeks. It's the medically supervised weight loss program that I'm on. That is the wrong app to look it up. So yeah, I'm down 43.1 pounds in 7 weeks and a day. So it's been quite a journey. I've been cranky. They warned us you'll be cranky the first week.
Yeah.
I started getting cranky the 6th week.
Oh.
Because this shit is chalky. The shakes are chalky, the bars are chalky, and I just want some real goddamn food. But I've lost 43 pounds in 7 weeks. So it's like, look, you're getting what you wanted. So put your fucking head down and deal with it.
Yeah.
Put your head down and deal with it because you're getting what you wanted.
Yeah.
Now, when they went over the program again in our mandatory weekly meeting last week, and we're like, well, the transition back to real food, it can be anywhere from 6 to 12 weeks. And I'm just thinking, it is not going to be 6 to 12 weeks. I'm thinking 6 to 12 hours. No, it's probably, I'm probably going to take 2 weeks to transition back. Just because, so they're like, replace a meal with food. Well, these meals are 160 calories and I have 7 of them a day.
Yeah.
So am I going to start fucking around trying to find 160 calories of something? I am not.
No.
So I'm going to be replacing probably 2 at a time and doing it that way. So I'm thinking probably a couple of weeks like that. And then I'm going to be going back onto a clean, lean protein, fruits, veggies situation, which worked for in 2013. I did really well with that. So that's going to be the continuation to go down through. And then I'm probably just going to eat like Whole30 moving forward off of that. So, yeah, it's been a journey to do it.
Well, the kids will make you run now. So,
yeah. And my goal was I said, I'm going to run the 5K at Angel Stadium next year. And then I found out it's actually in August because they moved it. So we'll see if I'm actually in good enough shape in August to run. If I know I could walk it, but I don't want to walk. I don't want to go to Anaheim to walk a 5K. That's just me. I've done it. I've done that race a couple of times and it's flat. So I want to be able to run it. So, speaking of that, I really want to get into, a little bit of, baseball because, these guys, they're allowing fans at games, but it's a smaller percentage. And these guys stayed till the end of the Angels game on April 2nd.
Hey, listen to me. Look around you. Look around. Everybody's fucking gone. Everybody's fucking gone, but we're still here. We're still here riding for that shit. So remember that, all right? Let's go.
Number 27.
And they won. So, yeah, that's what I want to talk about baseball because it's baseball season. And it's fucking awesome. And the Angels just wrapped up. They're playing. I think they're playing now. They're playing the Astros the next couple of days. But they open with the White Sox, and the White Sox were one of those teams that did a lot of stuff in the offseason, and they are one of the favorites in the American League. So to have them come in for a 4-game series to start, and the Angels are notoriously slow starters. They're my team. They're notoriously slow starters. They took 3 out of 4.
Oh, wow.
A lot of exciting come from behind games, a lot of stuff happening, including on Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. Shohei Ohtani was the starting pitcher. He was also hitting. There was no DH. They did not DH in the American League. He's a DH when he's not pitching. So he started the game and hit second for the Angels. And he ended up going out in the 5th when someone slid into him at home plate. But here's what he did before that.
Watch tonight, and as we mentioned, Alex, the expectations are just enormous. Eaton's hit in all 3 games to start the season. 2-2 to Eaton. 101. We are so desensitized to velocity right now, but even 101, it's got to get everybody's attention, huh? 101 is still going to grab your eyeballs. Here's the 2-2. Got him to chum on that splitter.
He followed 101 with a 92-mile-an-hour split finger.
Into the shadow, unhittable. He missed that ball by half a foot.
Another 100.
To the reigning American League MVP.
Another at 100.
Holds off on 100. 1 gone to start for Dylan Cease, and that'll bring up.
Here he is hitting.
Again, Shohei 2 for 13 with a homer so far on this side of the scorecard.
First pitch swinging.
Pitch crushing! Wow. Oh, man! Lean into it!
451-foot home run into the right field bleachers.
You could hear that one.
Yeah, I mean, he absolutely crushed that ball. That all happened in the 1st inning.
Wow.
That was the 1st inning. So it's an exciting time to be a baseball fan. At least for my team right now. Not so much for a Red Sox fan because they got swept by the Orioles. And like I said, fans are coming back, but they are going to require some things before you can go to the ballpark. For instance, if you want to go see the San Francisco Giants at Oracle Park, FanSafe is their commitment to safety to the fans, employees, and the reopening of Oracle Park in 2021. They require a negative COVID test or vaccination proof in order for you to go into the park. They're not fucking around.
They shouldn't be.
And it's an outdoor venue too.
Yeah.
So all of this talk about, oh, hey, whatever, it's not real, it's not going to affect me, I don't need to get vaccinated. Well, you do if you want to go do stuff. And there's going to be more and more things. And people can go, well, how can you require a vaccination? How can you do that? How can you require me to put something in my body? Well, if you'd like to go to an event, they have every right to say, are you vaccinated? And if you're not, then you need to pass a COVID test right now.
Yeah. And I've seen people like, oh, now we're going with the vaccination segregation. It's like, no, that's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, I get it. Right now, not everybody has had a chance to get vaccinated.
Yeah.
I totally get that. As we move forward and vaccinations are available, like we mentioned, on April 15th, everybody over 16 in California will be able to schedule a vaccination.
You cannot send your kids to school if they're not vaccinated.
Oh, the anti-vaxxer is going to hate that.
That's just the reality of things.
Well, and they're testing right now on kids to see if it's safe, what the dose should be, all of those things.
I'm just talking about in general.
Oh yeah.
You can't send your kids to school.
Well, you can if you get you can though, because there was a bunch of lobbying a few years ago by these people who are like, well, it's this, and that's why we had measles outbreaks and whooping cough outbreaks and all of this shit that we had eradicated because anti-vaxxers were like, well, you can't make me vaccinate my child. Jenny McCarthy told me that vaccinations cause autism. Jenny McCarthy was a co-host of Singled Out on MTV.
Yes.
She's married to Donnie Wahlberg.
Yes.
She's not an expert on
anything.
Anything.
And then what else? I was going to say something else. Oh, and like I keep saying it, and nobody's listening to me. The next wave of lawsuits, everybody's talking about lawsuits that's going to happen from this vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be like the mesothelioma.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but you understand how long it took those mesothelioma commercials to come out? The next wave of lawsuits will be from people who contacted COVID from an establishment. And if you don't think that that's what's going to happen, look at my track record for all the shit that I've said.
Yeah, I mean, especially if someplace isn't following government mandated protocols. You roll into someplace that is letting people be too close together, not making them wear their mask when they're wandering around the restaurant or whatever it might be.
There is a lawyer. I don't even know this person yet, but there is a lawyer right now that is looking into how he can create a class action lawsuit, or that he can get people that will file lawsuits against establishments because they did not follow the COVID protocols. I'm telling you that it is happening, and that is going to be the first or the next wave of lawsuits that come out. Those are going to be the commercials that you're going to see, and you are going to see them within the next year.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, mark it on your calendar. Within the next year, this shit is going. That's what's going to be happening.
You know what's going to happen? It's going to be coming from someone who is an anti-vaxxer too.
And it's going to become. And it's going to be coming from somebody like that.
It's going to be coming from some asshole. I know.
From some asshole that didn't believe this shit was real.
Right. Oh, speaking of which, Sarah Palin, welcome to the club. Sarah Palin got COVID, and then she came out and said, "Hey, I got COVID. You should wear a mask."
Yeah.
This is bad stuff. Well, where have you been, honey? It's been a year, and you were one of those people saying, "I'm not going to wear a mask. I'm not going to wear a mask." Well, now you got COVID. Yeah. But I'll give her credit. At least when she got COVID, she stepped up and said, "Hey, everybody, this is real. You should wear a mask," unlike literally everyone at the White House last fall.
Yeah. Or they got it and didn't tell nobody. You remember when you were in high school and your teacher would give you some assignment at the last minute, and everybody in your class would be like, "Oh, that's bullshit. I'm not doing this shit. That's fucking bullshit. I'm not doing this shit." And then you get back to school the next day and you didn't do it, but all those motherfuckers that said, "I'm not doing this shit," did it.
That was not me. I never left that to chance. I don't trust anybody.
Yeah, but those are those people. Yeah. That's exactly it. There will be those people that got it. It's like the motherfuckers in Florida that didn't believe it, that are now paying DeSantis so that they can get the fucking vaccine.
Yeah, it's a shit show.
Let's not shut down Florida. We need to still keep making money, but we need to be the first people to get the vaccine.
Right. Sticking with baseball, Major League Baseball announced on Friday that it is relocating the 2021 All-Star Game and MLB Draft, which were originally scheduled to take place in Atlanta. They have now determined they will be at Coors Field.
Yes.
In Denver. The decision comes a little more than a week after the passage of SB 202, which is a Georgia law that President Joe Biden criticized, saying that it will restrict voting access for residents of the state. Commissioner Rob Manfred said in a statement that the decision to move the All-Star Game was, quote, "the best way to demonstrate our values as a sport." Let me see. He's not sitting there, but I'm going to add him to the stream. I'll mute that while he walks around. As a sport, and was made after consultation with teams, former and current players, the MLB Players Association, the Players Alliance, amongst others. Major League Baseball fundamentally supports the voting rights for all Americans and opposes restrictions at the ballot box. In 2020, MLB became the first professional sports league to join the Nonpartisan Civic Alliance to help build a future in which everyone participates in shaping in the United States. We proudly used our platform to encourage baseball fans and communities throughout the country to perform their civic duty and actively participate in the voting process. Fair access to voting continues to have our game's unwavering support. So I'm like, all right, that's pretty cool. But now there's fallout, Kareem. There were a lot of people who were like, yeah, MLB, good job. But there is fallout, and that fallout comes from the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott. He has now officially declined an invitation to throw out the ceremonial first pitch at the home opener of the Rangers.
Don't worry, the home opener of the Ranger might be the last game they have for like 10 days. because they're going back with full capacity at their stadium.
Opening day, yes.
Opening day.
Which is stupid. Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, put out a statement that said Major League Baseball has adopted what has turned out to be a false narrative about the election law reforms in Georgia, and based on that false narrative, moved the MLB All-Star Game from Atlanta. It's shameful that America's pastime is not only being influenced by partisan political politics, but also perpetuating false political narratives. This decision does not diminish the deep respect I have for the Texas Rangers baseball organization, which is outstanding from top to bottom. By the way, if I hear another Republican use words like outstanding for shit that ain't outstanding, I'm gonna put him down in the karma column for a whooping.
I am proud of Major League Baseball because of all of these sports entities, except for hockey, and I don't really consider them a sports.
How dare you?
They have been the least vocal on civic engagement, and I'm not saying that they haven't been doing anything. I'm just saying that they've been the least vocal.
Sure, I mean the percentage of African Americans in Major League Baseball is one of the lowest of any of the professional sports outside of hockey.
Yes, but this was a ballsy move, and I applaud them for it. And remember what I told you guys last year about and I brought it up a couple weeks ago. Citibank did that study. $8.6 trillion is lost in revenue due to racism. These people, all these corporations understand this. All of these corporations have this study, and they understand how much money that they're losing in this. And they are going to bring us together racially so that they can make money if they don't do any fucking thing else. Mm-hmm. You can get on board if you're a Republican, or you can keep fighting what they're going to do. But that's what their goal is to get that money. And if this is what it takes, I'll take it. Whatever way I can get equal, I'll take it.
Yeah, it's a big decision. Jason, what did you think when you heard about MLB pulling the All-Star Game out of Atlanta?
Good for them. I mean, they were quick to do it, right? And to think for anybody, including Governor Dumbfuck Abbott, like for anybody to think that the MLB just makes some type of decision off of like information that's not factual or like on anything that's really based, and that they just decide to make just off of some hearsay about policy. Like, I'm sorry, but they have lawyers. Like, they have somebody that works in legal in Atlanta for the MLB, for the Braves, that knows this information and can get the facts of the situation. They're not making uneducated, determination. So, I mean, yeah, good for them. And continuing the process of,
And here's the deal. Georgia didn't have to do shit.
Right? They went through, they made a point of the 3 recounts. They went through everything multiple times. There was no voter fraud. None. No. The Republicans who run Georgia, from the governor to the Secretary of State, stood up. No voter fraud. They did the right thing. They did their job as elected officials. And then, after a lot of people turned out and sent 2 Democrats to the Senate, which partially that blame falls on Trump.
Yeah.
Suddenly, the Georgia
legislature
decides, well, hell, we need to do something about this. We're going to keep people from bringing food and water to you in line.
Like you didn't have to do anything.
Yeah. Well, here's the problem. And here's why they felt like they had to do something. Because the Republican Party is a dying party all across the country. And the results in Georgia are a canary in a coal mine of that.
Well, and part of this law that they put into place is if the state legislator doesn't trust the state legislator doesn't trust the votes that came in from certain districts, they can pretty much cancel those votes out.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of bullshit afoot.
Yeah. And Texas is another state that's they're putting together laws like this too. So that's why Governor Abbott is stepping out, because he knows that he's next.
Right.
But the crazy thing is that the Republican Party in the 90s were situated to be the progressive party as far as having the first black presidential or vice presidential candidate, the first female, or the first, well, it wouldn't have been the first.
Yeah, Ferrara was a candidate in '84.
Yeah, but the first black woman to be on a ticket as far as a vice president. Like they were perfectly seated to be that party, and instead they doubled down on the racists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you can't.
The big thing about the Republican Party is there are way fewer Republicans than there are Democrats.
Yeah.
Even Republicans and independents are, you put them together, they are roughly about what Democrats are in terms of popularity.
But here's the deal: black people are socially conservative.
Yeah.
So they believe in hard work. Like,
well, that's not what the racists tell me.
that's not what. Look, black people aren't forgiving anybody any more free shit than any white person.
That's not what the racists tell me, Kareem.
And they could have carved out that slice right there in the middle.
Sure.
Where they could have been the party.
Sure. I mean, they already have that with a good portion of Hispanic voters.
They could have had that same.
But they love being, not all of them, but they love being racist so bad. Don't you understand?
Yes. No, I get it. But yeah, it was set up for them to be. Oh my goodness! They just fucked it up.
They just can stop referring to their black friends. It's like, yeah, no, he's a good one.
Yeah,
and
even President Dumbass, the shit was set up for him to be the best. He could have been the greatest president in the history of presidents if he had just went in, worked with the Democrats to do an infrastructure bill. Got that out first.
Oh, we're going to talk infrastructure in a minute.
And just move that. Look, all he had to do was roll that down the aisle.
Yeah.
And he was golden. He would have been gold. He was set up.
He was as gold as his toilet.
He was set up to be as gold as his toilet.
No shit.
And he fucked it all up.
Did you catch that joke there, Jason?
One term.
Jason, are you ready for August?
Oh, yeah. Bring it on, baby.
All right, because big things are coming in August.
I'm talking about, Steve, is what I have been doing since January 9th. All the evidence I have, everything is going to go before the Supreme Court, and the election of 2020 is going bye-bye. It was an attack by another country, communism coming in. I don't know what they're going to do with it after they pull it down, but it's
hang on a second.
Hold on. Donald Trump will be back in office in August.
Okay, when Steve Bannon tries to say, hey, you're talking crazy.
Yes.
This is on Steve Bannon's show.
Steve was like, don't say colored.
That's a former crackhead and MyPillow executive Mike Lindell with his new theory that Trump will be back in the White House in August after they take down the 2020 election.
I can't wait for his case to get to court. I cannot wait for depositions.
Oh my God, Discovery.
I cannot wait for this shit.
I don't know what they're going to discover because he crazy.
I cannot wait for this shit.
He absolutely crazy. All right, so let's move on from the MyPillow guy because we don't have a lot of time and he's not worth any more.
Yeah. Get out of here. Literally
everyone hates Ted Cruz.
Yes.
I'm guessing his daughters do too after he blamed them for the whole Mexico thing. John Boehner, former Speaker of the House, really hated Ted Cruz too. So much so that when he went to record his audiobook, he couldn't help himself.
Freedom means you can be a genius and invent new products that make you millions of dollars and helps millions of people. It means you're free to work your way to becoming the first in your family to go to college. It means you're free to reach as high as you want, no matter where you came from, even if you're a little kid sweeping a bar out in Southwest Ohio. Take it from me. You'll never know where you'll end up. That's freedom. I'll raise a glass to that any day. P.S. Ted Cruz, go fuck yourself.
That should be the new "Go Fuck Yourself" on the podcast.
Again, well, the All Eyes on Us podcast have been "fuck you, Ted Cruz" for a bit now, so that's theirs. I'm gonna send that to J Red so he can go out with that if he wants to.
Oh wow!
Yeah. By the way, the narration on that audiobook fucking terrible.
He sounds like it sounded like he had a couple.
You know, is he the one that is working for the marijuana industry now?
Yep.
Well, he clearly was not then because he was uptight.
Yes.
Uptight.
This is the next audiobook that I'm actually going to get because I can't wait to read this or listen to this.
Well, I'm guessing that's an outtake.
Yeah. But he's because he's saying the shit now that everybody else was saying about the Republican Party. And like that people just want to be in like their fucking talk show hosts.
But where was all of this as it was developing? This shit could have and should have been cut off at the knees by the people in the Republican Party who actually were smart and gave a shit about this country. And they let it happen.
They motherfuckers ran for the hills.
They let it happen. Some of them retired. Some of them did whatever. There was the Tea Party started this nonsense.
Yep.
Newt Gingrich really started this nonsense. If you want to go back, Lee Atwater, who later died of brain cancer because karma catches up with a lot of people.
Yes.
Started this nonsense, and it was late 80s, and then in the 90s, and then in the 2000s, we got the Tea Party, and now we've got these fucking morons. I mean, I look at members of Congress, and I'm just completely befuddled as to how these people got any backing to run for anything.
Bruh. So I'm listening. I'm watching the QAnon documentary on HBO.
Yeah. How was it?
So the three people that are pretty much I'm gonna say it's four people, but the three people that are, and the one guy who probably is Q is a fucking Asian dude who's playing fucking like he's running the art of war on people.
Sure.
Who does karate stances out in the woods.
This is all mindfuck. This is all mindfuck.
This is the dude that's doing this.
Well, sure. And it's
and the other dude is a guy in a wheelchair who has like a birth defect.
Right.
Who the only thing he could do was be on his computer all the time.
Great.
So this is the other portion of that.
He could have done something good with it, but no.
But these are the people. And I'm like, if Marjorie Taylor Greene or Lauren Boebert, if they actually were asked to spend any time with these people, they'd be like, fuck no. They would have nothing to do. They would have nothing to do with these people. And these are the people that got you doing all of this crazy shit.
Yeah. Marjorie Taylor Greene posted a video of her during CrossFit and added that was how she was protecting herself from COVID.
Yeah.
That's not how viruses work.
No. Oh, and the way she was doing those pull-ups was dope. That was.
You cannot box jump your way away from COVID.
No. I know everybody was watching it, waiting for her to slip off the bar.
You know, I didn't even watch. I didn't even watch any. I watched like 3 seconds of it, and I went, "Well, this is stupid."
Yeah.
I mean, she's not even that great at it.
Yeah. Like I said,
I mean, good for her and all, but whatever.
You should have watched at least 10 minutes of the doc. Just 10 minutes.
I'll do my best.
I mean, yeah, no. Thanks though. Appreciate it.
I'll do my best. I watched a couple of minutes of Matt Gaetz, who is under investigation for sex trafficking. And when the New York Times story came out last week, Tucker Carlson invited Matt Gaetz to come on his show and explain what was going on.
Tell us what the truth is from your perspective.
It is a horrible allegation, and it is a lie.
Hold on. Hold the fuck on right now. Tell us what the truth is from your perspective. No, motherfucker, the truth is not dependent upon perspective. Don't bring up this is my truth bullshit that I keep hearing from everybody, from Oprah to Iyanla to everybody else. No, fuck you. There's truth, and then there's not truth. Yeah. There's not your truth and my truth. There's the truth. What happened? I just wanted to, sorry. Just had to go off on a little tangent there.
The New York Times is running a story that I have traveled with a 17-year-old woman, and that is verifiably false. People can look at my travel records and
17-year-old girl. Yeah. You don't get the woman moniker until you hit 18.
See that that is not the case. What is happening is an extortion of me and my family involving a former Department of Justice official. On March 16th, my father got a text message demanding a meeting wherein a person demanded $25 million in exchange for making horrible sex trafficking allegations against me go away. Our family was so troubled by that, we went to the local FBI. And the FBI and the Department of Justice were so concerned about this attempted extortion of a member of Congress that they asked my dad to wear a wire, which he did with the former Department of Justice official. Tonight,
so my dad wore a wire. Hey, if you were thinking of whacking my dad, he wore a wire.
Yeah.
I am demanding that the Department of Justice and the FBI release the audio recordings that were made under their supervision and at their direction, which will prove my innocence and that will show that these allegations aren't true. They're merely intended to try to bleed my family out of money. And this former Department of Justice official tomorrow was supposed to be contacted by my father so that specific instructions could be given regarding the wiring of $4.5 million as a down payment on this bribe. I don't think it's a coincidence that tonight, somehow, the New York Times is leaking this information, smearing me, and ruining the investigation that would likely result in one of the former colleagues of the current DOJ being brought to justice for trying to extort me and my family.
What is the basis of that investigation? What is the allegation? That's really not very clear from these news stories.
Yeah, again, I only know what I've read in the New York Times.
You just went on a fucking rant about how this was related to that and that was related to that, and now you come back with, I only know what I read in the New York Times?
Yeah.
I can say that actually you and I went to dinner about 2 years ago. Your wife was there, and I brought a friend of mine. You'll remember her. And she was actually threatened by the FBI, told that if she wouldn't cop to the fact that somehow I was involved in some pay-for-play scheme, that she could face trouble. And so I do believe that there are people at the Department of Justice who are trying to smear me, providing for flights and hotel rooms for people that you're dating who are of legal age is not a crime. And I'm just troubled that the lack of any sort of legitimate investigation into me would then convert into this extortion attempt.
By the way, this all started when Bill Barr was in charge of the Justice Department.
Yes.
So that was a whole lot of nothing. Then they went to break, and Tucker Carlson came back and had this to say.
If you just saw our Matt Gaetz interview, that was one of the weirdest interviews I've ever conducted. That story just appeared in the news a couple of hours ago. And on the certainty that there's always more than you read in the newspaper, we immediately called Matt Gaetz and asked him to come on and tell us more, which, as you saw, he did. I don't think that clarified much, but it certainly showed this is a deeply interesting story, and we'll be following it. Don't quite understand it, but we'll bring you more when we find out.
No, they won't, because Fox News has not been mentioning the Matt Gaetz story at all. They're still on Hunter Biden's laptop.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I'm told has evidence of Matt Gaetz's impropriety with underage girls. So let's get that laptop.
And mind you, the story broke after the story broke. The rumor was put out that he was going to retire from Congress early,
right,
and go to work for Newsmax,
which they've denied.
Yeah, so that story came out earlier in the day before this story came out. Which tells me,
no, definitely had read like a couple of days before this all broke that he was thinking about quitting early to be because that's what he really wanted to do. Like, get the fuck out of here, dude! Like, now I know why you wanted to quit. Now we know why you wanted to quit.
You just ran for re-election. You literally just ran for re-election, and you're like, you know what I want to do? Go on, Max.
Yeah. So did either one of you watch the Maddow opening?
I did not get a chance to.
You have to watch that opening. This shit is crazier.
Yeah. What I need you to do is send me a YouTube link of the actual thing, because it's so all over the place. Of the reason I didn't watch it was that at the time I'm on YouTube looking for it. I'm like, I'm not seeing what I'm looking to see, because it's not quite right. It's like a little clip here, a little clip there, and I don't record Maddow, so I missed it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna find it and send it to you.
Thank you.
Because this shit all started with a guy who he knew who ran for tax collector in the county.
Yep.
That story is fucking crazier. It's Florida Corner on steroids.
Yes, indeed it is.
That fucking story itself, the way The Rock and Mark Wahlberg did a movie called Pain and Gain.
Yes, it was terrible.
This story is Pain and Gain, terrible, crazy. That's how bad. That's how crazy this fucking story is.
All right. Well, you mentioned crazy. Biden has put forth an infrastructure plan. And what's clear to me is one of two things. Either Republicans have no idea what infrastructure is, or they only understand infrastructure in terms of what would be infrastructure in 1776 when the founders put it in the Constitution. Because they did. It was anyway. Here's a rising star in the party and governor of South Dakota.
With the White House today, with all the governors talking about the specifics of this package. And I was shocked by how much doesn't go into infrastructure. It goes into research and development. It goes into housing and pipes and different initiatives, green energy. And it really is not an honest conversation we're having.
Those things are all infrastructure.
Yes.
And if you don't research and plan and put in pipes, then you ain't going to have anything. Jason's head hurts. I think Jason's brain literally exploded out the back of his head there. That is the governor of South Dakota.
She lives in South Dakota.
Uh-huh.
And does not understand how pipes and housing are a part of infrastructure.
Correct.
I would be very fucking afraid to live in South Dakota with this person as governor.
Well, I mean, they handled COVID so well.
Yes.
Meantime, in Missouri, there were a pair of anti-maskers harassing a worker and saying fucking nonsense.
You've not heard of what's going on? I've heard of it. Okay. Yes, we talk to everyone who's violating human rights. Okay. We have a conversation with everyone who's violating human rights. Okay. If you're producing your own carbon dioxide, that is not healthy. That's less healthy.
I'm doing it for all the other people that are also doing it.
You're not benefiting them in any way.
That's fine.
Also,
I'm doing it for the benefit of
no, you're doing it because the governor put out a mandate, but the mandate is not it's not a law. Also, it doesn't stop. So you guys say it's scientifically proven not to stop the transmission.
I'm a scientist too. That's fine. It's a private business.
We're all scientists.
We all have requirements.
Viruses are
shoes and masks are required inside the business.
Viruses are smaller than fabric pores. Your mask isn't helping you from any virus whatsoever.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I don't care.
Let me help you, dude. Fuck off! That's all you do. You take a step back so as not to be threatening with your mask on and just do this. Fuck off, you idiot! this continued for quite some time.
No. Call the police.
You just
call the police.
touched
You
me.
just assaulted me.
You just touched
You just touched me. You just assaulted me.
He walks past
Call the
me.
police. Yeah, I'm trying to walk past you. This is a private property that we have already asked you to leave multiple times. Karen, don't talk to me.
Don't call her Karen.
Karen, you just assaulted me. I can have you arrested.
You were within 2 feet of her. You assaulted me. You came
I did not. You, oh, I could call you so many. Call the police.
Me.
Call the police.
White on white crime.
I love how mad they got when he called her. Do not call her Karen. You two are standing outside a business hassling an employee about masks. You were asked to leave and you didn't. You kept rambling on with your fucking nonsense about masks causing cancer and viruses are smaller than fabric. And someone called you Karen and you got upset? You fucking snowflake. You fucking snowflake. You unbelievable thin-skinned fuck nugget.
White on white crime.
Man.
She puts the Q in Karen.
Oh, there's a little more.
Assaulted me.
I have you on film.
You came right
I have you on film. Get off the property.
Leave. You're trespassing.
They violate human rights at this place.
Anti-maskers. Watch out for them. Here they come.
Okay. Requiring you to wear a mask is not violating human rights in any way, shape, or form. No. These are two of the dumbest people I've seen on the internet all week.
I had a guy today on TikTok that was talking about how stupid liberal, like how dumb do liberals think they are. The guy was definitely wearing his shirt backwards.
Sure. Well, maybe he just had the camera flipped around. He's doing
No.
thing.
It was like the shirt. You could see right here where it says the like information about the shirt. Like, no, he had it on backwards.
Okay.
Hilarious.
Bad news. The ban on yoga in Alabama public schools is going to stay around a little bit longer because conservative groups are afraid that it's going to lead to a rise in Hinduism.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, it will. For that and Buddhism.
Yep.
Definitely, without a doubt, that Buddhism.
Downward dog leads to Hinduism, and then
transcendentalism. Like, listen, they start getting into the transcendental meditation, like, and then all of a sudden they'll be doing like the astro, like the what's it called when you like place yourself elsewhere, like when you're sleeping.
Astral projection.
Yeah. They'll be into astral projection soon. Like, it's just a slippery slope, bro. Like, get you into it. Get you onto all those other things.
And then a Kanye then a Kanye shows up.
Yeah.
And it's all over from there.
So there was there's a Vipassana group that was done in a prison in one of those states. And the prisoners came out better after they did. It's a 10-day silent meditation.
Yeah.
To the point where the other prisoners was like, we want to do what they did. So they started leaving the church groups and shit and going to join those people.
You can do both.
Yeah. You
can do both.
But
you can just do yoga to stretch and exercise.
Dude, no, it's going to open your mind up, bro, to those demons, dude.
The Christians came out and had the governor shut down the program because of this shit. So,
of course. Also because they're thinking about things like they're like, wait, we're just being slaves, like slave labor in a prison that's for profit. Like, it's just too much, bro. It's just too much. Got to keep them
hilarious.
Got to keep them down with the Christianity side. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes, and if you're doing yoga, depending on what you're doing, especially if you're doing Bikram yoga, you don't have time to think about Hinduism.
Look, normally, anytime I've done any yoga, all I'm worried about is getting into the pose and holding it.
Exactly. Nothing to do with Hinduism.
And not farting.
Well, real quickly, fuck
I mean, that's
Bikram.
the biggest. That's the biggest one. Is like when you're doing yoga in a group, your biggest fear is that you're going to rip a fart.
Oh man!
And if it's not, you're doing it wrong.
And a bad one.
Fuck Bikram.
Yeah, you don't want to be downward dogging in front of a hot chick and ripping a fart.
Yes.
Or
Anyway.
do you?
No, I mean, depends.
You
Depends on
never
how
know.
angry. Depends on how angry you are at women. Meanwhile, in Louis,
Hey, some chicks dig it, dude. Some chicks dig your brand. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you just have to go to different ones. Figure out.
I will eat your ass first.
You be hotboxing Chris is what you're telling us.
Oh man, she got so angry at me the other morning. Like I stink the bedroom up for sure, and she got so angry at me. I'm like, I'm sleeping. How do I know I'm farting? I don't know I'm farting. I'm sleeping, and I think that my CPAP machine actually makes me fart more.
It does push air into you.
Yeah. So like I'm hella gassy in the morning. I've had like 6.5, 7 hours of air being pushed into me. I'm just shitting. I'm not shitting. I'm farting out a storm. And Chris like literally yelled at me, woke me up, and was like, "Jason, room stinks." So yeah, that's my life, bro. Like screaming kids and getting yelled at my wife by because I'm farting in my sleep. I'm farting.
That's hilarious.
I'm being fart shamed while I fart.
What she should have done is gone and gotten a jar and captured one and then put your CPAP hose into it. Let you wake up to it.
I told her that she's lucky that I love her. Otherwise, I would have already by this point done a Dutch oven on her. Like, you know, like
I think you kind of did.
Yeah.
Oh,
Even
yeah.
when
I
you were
just do the whole room. I just do the whole room. I turn the whole room into an oven.
Oh wow.
All right. Well, let's wrap this shit up.
Let's leave the hustle and bustle for small town news.
We had other things, but we're running late, and you still get an hour show, so deal with it. We go now to the Northeast Kingdom of Vermont, where spring has sprung and the ice is out on Lake Memphremagog, with the winning guess only 7 minutes off. That's right, spring finally made its appearance in Newport at 4:09 a.m. when Lake Memphremagog Ice Out Contest, now in its 7th year, was over. It brought in a record 1,876 guesses and the largest ever cash prize. Jessica Booth, the director of Parks and Rec, said last week's warm spell was possibly one of the most climactic endings to the Ice Out contest in a while. Everywhere I went, I would hear people talking about the weather and how it's got to go any day now, because there's nothing else happening. She said the number of guesses for the contest almost doubled during the last week alone, with the pot shooting up. Why do you keep guessing? You should have to put those fuckers in. Anyway, just take your money. It shot up over $1,000 just from the predictions submitted on Thursday and Friday last week. They came in from across the country this year with entries from all of New England states and some from Georgia and Texas.
They hear the podcast?
I think they might have. We mentioned it. A few optimistic Vermonters had hoped the ice would go out as early as February 26th. The latest guess came in for June 16th at 2:30 p.m.
Oh, wow.
That was unrealistic. Saturday, March 27th was a celebratory day for 2020 when it went down with some crazy wind on the lake. So there you go. That's it. It's over. 4:09 a.m. The winning guess was 4:02 a.m. It is the closest in the 7-year history of it. The winner, Jason Patnode, took home $2,000.50.
$2,050. Hot damn.
Which is half of the 50-50 cash prize. It's an annual fundraiser hosted by the Newport Recreational Committee. This year, the event brought in $4,001, in case you couldn't multiply, with half the donations benefiting the improvements at Gardner Memorial Park. By the way, if you're curious, you can check out the official contest details and rules at newportrecreation.org/iceout. Ice out!
Good job, Jason.
Jason Patnode and his $2,000.50. 50 cents. All right, that's going to do it for us for this episode of the WTH podcast. Jason, any final words?
Just don't be an asshole, like you always say.
Kareem.
Don't be an asshole.
Colored is the PG way of saying the N-word. Do not say it.
What's the PG-13 way of saying the N-word?
I think about that.
And what's the G-rated? I'm going to need every movie rating.
Because if you say it around me, you might get slapped upside the head.
Oh, that would automatically up it to PG-13.
Yes.
That's definitely PG-13.
Violence.
Yes.
My final word is thank you, everybody, for downloading and listening to the WTH podcast, wherever you might be. If you could give us a rating or a review, that would be awesome, wherever you download your podcasts around the world. It would help us out. Recommend us to a friend. That's another great way to do it. And shout out. Let me see. We've got some comments here really quick. And I want to quickly, before we go, just say, Bruce Ash is here. Hi, Bruce. And Sushi Brian says, what's up, fellas? What's up, Sushi Brian?
What's up, Brian?
Take care. Again, as always, don't be a pendejo, and we'll see you next time on the WTH podcast. Toodaloo, asses.
Darling New Media, here to help you tell your story.